hope you can see me fine. Oh my god. I've got my hair in a bonnet because I just did my curly hair routine that never works or looks good on me, but I'm trying to figure out my natural hair, so we're just gonna let it slide, I guess. Let's do my makeup and get ready with me, and I'm gonna talk about possibly one of the worst but also one of the best things that's ever happened to me, and that is receiving my A-levels, crashing out and not getting into my uni of choice, and then having this whole transformative coming of age experience. So let's get into that. The reason why I wanted to make this video was because I know that a lot of people last week received their A-level results, and a lot of people this week are receiving their GCSE results just in a couple of days. I've got my makeup bags and boxes here, just so I can put my face on. A little story about how sometimes, you know, even when things don't go your way, or when something kind of unexpected happens, it might just be for the best and you just don't know it yet, and your life will change in a way that you can't even expect. So, prefacing this by saying that for the first 16 years of my life, I went to school in Latvia. So I had a very I had quite an atypical CV compared to a lot of kids in the UK. So compared to a lot of my peers in like sixth form, I had a bit of a different experience with school and education in general. And I really wanted to be a doctor. So that was my big goal. I wanted to, and don't laugh at me right now, I wanted to go to King's College and do medicine, and my delusional 16-year-old self thought that that was going to happen before I actually found out how medical applications work and what you're actually meant to like do for them. We're not even going to touch on the King's College moment because, you know, everyone's delusional at 16. Like, education was a big thing for me. I really wanted to get a good education, and I thought that I still kind of believe this, but at the time specifically, I genuinely truly believed that the better the uni you go to, the more chances you have in life, and truly that's all that matters. Like, and obviously because I'm still in uni, I can't really for sure say how true or untrue that is, because success is like a weird concept. You kind of have to decide for yourself what is deemed as successful, because there are going to be people who say that going to uni is a big kind of step and that's already successful. And then there are going to be people who, for example, this one taxi driver that I once had, honestly, worst Uber experience ever, and I've had some pretty tapped Uber experiences. It was basically this guy who, funnily enough, was also from Latvia. That's kind of why we connected. This middle-aged guy, we got talking. His point was that unless you go to, like, say, Harvard or Oxford, there's really no point of going to uni, and at that point, might as well have not gone to uni, and, like, what's the point? You're not going to find as good of a job. And then when I said to him, like, oh, well, you know, it's more about connection, more social aspects of it. Like, it's not just your degree that goes into it. It's also things like who your parents are. Like, realistically, if you can afford to go to Oxford and do a whole ass degree there, or like Harvard and do a whole degree there, realistically, like, your parents or your environment that you were brought up in already allows that. Obviously, I'm not saying that everybody at Oxford Uni is a nepo baby, but a lot of them are. Like, a lot of those people, they don't have to bother about finding a job in their field straight out of uni because they probably already know someone in that field, or at the very least they can afford to move back in with their parents and have like a comfortable life while they find themselves, essentially. Anyways, I did end up crying because he basically was like, oh, well, what do? Like, you go to Sunderland Uni, like, okay, and you're a taxi driver with no degree, so now what? He was like, we're preparing my son, like, he's already got a bunch of tutors, whatever, we're trying to get him into, where did he want his child to go? I think he was prepping him for, like, Oxford or something, or like UCL, I don't remember, but honestly, if that little boy could hear me right now, all I have to say is just tell your parents to go fuck themselves and like move out as soon as you can, because that type of shit will not go down well. And this is another thing that I want to say before I even get into the main part of the story. Your uni experience needs to reflect you and your desires, at least in that moment, and at least something that has been consistent with you throughout your entire life, okay? What I mean when I say this, your parents are not going to be the ones doing the assignments. They're not going to be the ones talking to classmates, like to your peers. They're not going to be the ones living in these accoms. They're not going to be the ones living in that city that you pick. It's going to be you, and you're going to have to do that. You're going to have to do the course, read the materials, do the assignments, do any of the practicals, not your parents. That is a thing that I think is really difficult to sometimes come to terms with and stand your ground. But you need to do it for your own sake, because I can't imagine anything worse than doing a 3 or longer year degree and hating every second of it. I love my degree and I still hate my life sometimes. I can't imagine doing a degree that I hate and then having my parents kind of hype me up about it, even though I hate every second of my existence. So I moved here when I was 16, and then I did my GCSEs in a year, because you obviously need like maths and English and stuff. So I did that, and I did chemistry and bio because I wanted to do that for A-level. And then that's kind of when I let the whole medicine dream go, because I realized that if I got a 6 in GCSE chemistry and like I was already struggling, I opened the A-level textbook and I just realized that that's not going to happen. It was just not going to happen. Do I kind of regret it? I mean, I suppose, but I think it's like a childhood dream that you have. I still really love science. I really miss science. I really enjoyed it. I was not going to do that as a profession. Like, that was just not going to happen for me. I'm obviously glad that everything worked out how it did, but I do really miss science, and I do sometimes wish I could, you know, do a nice little 6-hour practical in my little lab coat and sit there, wait for something to happen, nothing happens, you have to fake your results, you know, just the usual in a lab. I then applied to do A-levels at the same college where I did my GCSEs. I did biology, psychology, and PE. I don't know how it is in like different colleges, but our sixth form was very, very like university drawn. So they were very uni orientated. They were, you know, everything's about uni, and truly like it's not that deep. They basically told us like, if you don't get into uni after this, if you don't pick your uni choices wisely enough to then get in and then actually don't go, you've just wasted 2 years of your life. Like that was the notion. And that was verbatim what they told us. So the pressure was on, and I kind of want to skip through this part because sixth form was probably the worst time of my life ever to have ever yet existed. Like, obviously since like I finished sixth form, life went on and shit happened as well, but worst day in like right now will never compare to a regular day at sixth form. It was horrific. This is completely personal. I'm not advising anyone against sixth form. Like, trust me, it was a great, overall it was a great experience, but there was just so many things happening in my personal life and up here that it was just never bound to be a good time for me. Like, there was never a world where sixth form could have been a good time for me. My sixth form was lovely. Like, everybody there was lovely. The teachers were lovely. Yeah, like, I'm not really friends with anyone anymore. Not that I really ever was. It was all right. It was okay. And it was a pretty chill vibe if you don't count the whole, you know, you need to study until your fucking eyes fall out of your head. Everything else was just terrible for me. I don't remember most of it, and I don't want to. So yeah, from like the ages of, I want to say 14 to 20. I don't really remember much. So yeah, sixth form came and went, and then because I was having this whole like whatever, I didn't really know what I was gonna do. So my teacher suggested, you know, you seem like you would be really good at psychology, you should really consider it. So I considered it and I applied to 5 unis. I even got 1 unconditional offer, which was pretty fun, but I rejected it. My top uni choice was Durham. And my second choice was Manchester, Uni of Manchester. Those exams, mama, they came and went, and I just blew them, low-key, I did. I knew that I wasn't gonna get in, but I was really hopeful because I got a reduced offer from Durham somehow. I don't remember how, but I even had an interview with them over Zoom, and they gave me a reduced offer, and instead of like 3 A's or AAB, I needed 3 B's. For some reason, I genuinely thought if I go to a good uni, my life will be sorted. And obviously I wanted to go to a Russell Group uni, and Durham to me was that perfect combination of like, it's up north, so I don't have to go anywhere really. I don't have to go down south. It's close to where I was already living. Like, it was close to Newcastle. I was a massive snob. Like, for some reason, even though, mind you, like, this is I'm just gonna put in, like, this is where I grew up, right? Like, this is what this shit looks like. First gen, or like second gen immigrants to, because I'm technically a second gen immigrant, it's quite common to be snobby because you're fed this idea by your parents or like by other family members that, you know, you need to move to like the bougier city, you need to be friends with like bougier people and go to the better uni because then you'll find a better job and blah blah blah. It's just it's bullshit, really. So many other things that could potentially happen and go into that than a bougie uni does, truly. And even if I would have gotten in, I can't really imagine how. I really think I would have been a completely different person if I would have gotten into Durham and actually stayed there, and I can't guarantee that I would be a lot happier because, well, blah blah blah. Results day arrives and I was at home by then. I was in Latvia, and I wake up and I get a call from the doctor's office saying that my blood tests are really bad and that I need to come in. So in my head, I'm like, okay, I have HIV, like, I have HIV. No reason for me to believe I have HIV, by the way. And I thought that, oh my God, like, that's it, I'm about to die. Because of the time difference and the way it all worked with my college was that they were gonna send me my results by email because I wasn't coming in. But obviously that would take a couple of hours for them to actually like find my results, send them to me via email, for me to get them, open them, blah, 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 blah. So I did what any logical, anxious, unmedicated person would, and I go on UCAS, and I keep reloading it because obviously it's not working. Everybody and their mother and their grandma are on that website at that point. I reload it, nothing's happening. And then boom, it reloads and I open it and I see that it says, it's a grey screen and it says, unfortunately, your application has not been successful.
Yeah, okay, I didn't get in. That's fine. No.
So at that point, I've died. That feeling, I laugh about it now, but truly shit was not funny back then. I have not experienced that feeling of just, I want to say loss, but I don't even know if it was loss. It was more just like, that's it, like my life has ended. And someone's gonna be like, oh well, then you should have revised and you should have known better and you should have hired a tutor and you should have whatever. Totally, yeah, 1000%. Like, I should have done more work, I should have been more smart, I should have known that, you know, I have ADHD and like I probably am not gonna succeed with the study tactic that I had at the time, which was do the bare minimum and then stress that you're not doing enough, fall into a pit of like self-loathing and I don't know, whatever. I feel like a lot of people who went through this system will completely understand what I mean. You put so much of yourself into it. You maybe don't go out because you need to revise. You do these mock tests. There was just so much stress and so much pressure, and I truly wish that I could tell myself from back then, like, just revise. There's no need to get so stressed out about it. If you don't know something, ask for advice. If you can't handle it, that's fine. Don't mentally kill yourself over it, because it's just not worth it. It was never worth it. And now I think everything worked out better than I could have imagined, and I'm very glad for that. But still, like, the amount of I still feel like I failed. And I felt like a failure for like over a year after that. It was very difficult to come back from. You know, I go to see my mum. I'm like, I failed. She's like, okay, it's all right, whatever. She probably didn't know what was happening anyways, so that's completely fine. Go to my friend's house, like, full on crying. She feeds me. We have a bottle of wine. Everything seems to be getting, you know, settling down. I'm kind of settled. I get my results and I start calling. And I ended up doing 4 A-level exams because I also did Russian language. So in the end, my grades were A, B, C, C, which honestly aren't even that bad. And then I just panic applied. I panic applied to a random teaching course in Sunderland and thought, okay, I'm just going to be a teacher. What? I guess because I wanted to do teaching afterwards, and I thought, oh, well, fuck it, I might as well just become a teacher right away. Nobody asked you to do that, mama, but okay. And then I proceeded to spend the next, like, year of my life absolutely hating it. I didn't drop out or nothing, because I was like, I might as well just hang on, I guess. I realized that when I finished the course, I'm not even going to be a qualified teacher, so I would have to then do a year of, like, qualifying to become a teacher anyways. And I was like, you know what, that's just not gonna happen. So I transferred and at the time I was already doing student radio through my uni. I feel like the good thing about me in that situation is that I accepted my circumstances, but I didn't just sit there doing nothing, if that makes sense. Like, I was like, okay, now I'm a student here, even though I was so ashamed. I took it so personally. Everything that I've worked for these years is just in the dumpsters now. Like, ooh. You know what? Even to this day, I feel like it's my weird, like, childhood wound of not getting into a, quote, good uni. But honestly, guys, that we've got bigger fish to fry. Like, uni's just uni. At the end of the day, it's really what you make of it. I've had a great uni experience. But guys, I'm telling you, mark my words, Sunderland is going to be the next Manchester. And people always laugh when I say this. Mark my words, this is going to be the next northern, like, hotspot for all the creatives. Transferred courses, and I started doing something that I actually liked, and something that I think I'm pretty good at. And don't tell me otherwise, because that's your opinion. I've yet to regret switching my course. It was scary, definitely, because it's kind of like a breakup. You know that something is wrong, and you know that something needs to change, but you're scared to change it, and you don't know what to do, kind of, but you also do know what you need to do, so it's that weird in-between moment. That's my story, essentially. I'm now going into my 3rd year, and yes, I'm 22 in 3rd year, and I honestly don't care, because that's my story and that's my experience, and it's made me who I am today, and I've learned so much. I've met so many cool people, and I've even went back to sports, which I thought was never going to happen, and I'm so grateful for that. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens with its own timing. You just need to trust yourself sometimes and go with your gut. Have enough faith that the decision that you're making is right for you, even if it feels wrong on paper. The whole, like, sunken fallacy cost theory, the Concord theory, as they call it, where oh, I've already invested so much time and resources into this, I might as well go through with it because, you know, I've already done so much. But that is bullshit. If it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel like you, if it doesn't feel like you're in the right place, then you need to leave. You need to exit that situation as soon as possible, because it's not gonna get any better. There's a difference between struggling somewhere and, you know, going through a tough time and going through some sort of difficulty and knowing that you're in the wrong place. Completely different things. Completely different things. Once you learn to differentiate that, life will get so much easier, because you'll be able to have agency over your actions. And I really need to go. The whole point of this story is that whatever you saw on that envelope that you opened the other day, whatever letters it had on it, that does not determine your worth or your future. You can do anything you want. If someone has the audacity to tell you that, oh, well, you've now failed and you're gonna go to the thicky dum-dum university, fuck them. Having a degree is such a massive privilege. It's different for different people, but my family had to sacrifice so much for, like, me and my sister to have degrees. And you know what? Thanks, guys. You need to learn how to put these things into perspective. That's just some food for thought. I hope this gave someone hope. We will do a little update on this hopefully in a couple of years' time, when hopefully I have a job in my field and I'll be able to give you even more hope. I'm happy with my decisions, and my A-level results did not determine who I am. They just reflected a short period of my life. I'm still just as intelligent as I was. I still have those skills. Just as a little fun fact, I missed a B in biology, because I ended up getting a C. I was 1 mark off of a B. 1 mark off of a B, which was the deciding mark for me to go to Durham. And I got my paper remarked, and it was still a C. They couldn't find an extra mark for me. So if that's not fate, then I don't know what is. Low-key, everything works out. So, oof, it looks like doo-doo. No, having textured hair of any sort is not for the weak, because what is that? Release the scrunch. Wait. Why did this kind of eat? Am I delusional? I think I am. But guys, my mum has the same hair, that probably even curlier than mine, and she very rarely does it for some reason. Let's honor our ancestors today. Wait, I kind of love it. I hate the fringe, but that's a different conversation. Just keep on doing what you're doing, really. So I will see you next time.